She unknowingly hugged Rose. Rose was taken aback for a moment, but then she smiled softly and hugged her back. As Scar nuzzled her face deeper into Rose's neck, the demon inside her whispered, "I need a blood source." Scar nuzzled closer and inhaled her scent. The demon grew thirstier. Slowly, her eyes began turning red. Rose tried to pull away from the hug, but Scar didn't let her. "Scar, are you okay?" she asked gently, a soft smile still on her face. In response, she only heard a low groan. "What happened?" Rose asked, worried. By now, Scar's eyes had completely turned red. When her lips brushed against Rose's neck, Rose gasped. "Scar, please let me go," she said nervously. But Scar was lost in her. Feeling her lips still against her neck, Rose tried again. "Scar, please let me go." She shook her slightly, and that brought Scar back to her senses. Scar immediately stepped back. Turning away to hide her still red eyes, she said, I'm going outside." Rose held her hand. "Where are you going?" I have some work. I'll be back in a while," Scar replied, and without waiting another second, she left. Rose felt upset by her behavior. Just moments ago, she had been happy that everything was going well. She couldn't understand what had suddenly changed. She sat on the sofa, waiting for her. When Scar returned, it was late, and there was no electricity in the penthouse. As she entered, she saw candles lit all over the place. It looked beautiful, but not to Scar. The sight brought back old memories and pulled her into the past once again. Flashback. Scar entered her room and found it fully decorated with scented candles. "Princess, where are you?" she called. "Here," said a girl standing behind her. When Scar turned and saw her, she was completely mesmerized. The girl was wearing a beautiful red dress and looked breathtakingly beautiful. "Why are you looking at me like that?" the girl asked lovingly. "You look incredibly beautiful," Scar said, gently holding her by the waist. "Now will you tell me what all this is for?" she added with a smile. "Today, I want to give you my everything. I want to make our love eternal. I want all rights over me to belong only to you. Today, I am yours, and I want to remain yours for the rest of my life. These candles will witness our love, so that whenever you see them, you remember only me and our love. Make me yours, Scar," the girl said, before capturing her lips in a kiss. Flashback ends. Scarlett's eyes grew, moist remembering it. "When did you come?" Rose asked sleepily, rubbing her eyes as she woke up. What is all this?" Scar asked, pointing at the candles. "There was some issue with the electricity, so Baldy did all this," Rose explained. Scar just hummed in response and was about to go to the washroom when Rose stopped her. "What is this?" she asked, holding the edge of Scar's shirt collar. "And nothing," Scar stammered. "Then why is there a red mark on your shirt?" Rose asked, rubbing the fabric. Scar nervously held her hands. "I'll go clean it," she said quickly, and hurried into the washroom. Inside, she washed her face and murmured, "I love you, Princess, and I'm sorry." After changing her clothes, she was about to go to her own room when she remembered Daniel's words. Give Rose a chance. Make a soft corner for her. She lightly hit her head and stood there for a minute, deciding what to do. Finally, she walked toward Rose's room. Without knocking, as she always does, she went inside and said casually, the monster in my room isn't leaving, and I'm not going to sleep in the hall." Very innocently, she took a blanket and lay down on the bed. Rose stared at her blankly. Before she could even process what had just happened, Scar was already asleep. She smiled at Scar's childishness and quietly lay down beside her. Next morning, as usual, Rose woke up, and the moment she opened her eyes, she fell off the bed. It had almost become her daily ritual to fall every morning. Rubbing her forehead, she stood up, first glaring at the cute monster sleeping peacefully, then pulling her cheeks playfully before going to freshen up. When Scar woke up, Rose was already dressed and ready. "Are you going somewhere?" Scar asked, still half asleep. "I'm not going alone. You're coming too, did you forget? We're going to explore Switzerland. Remember, I won the bet," Rose said proudly. Scar made an annoyed face and was about to get ready when her eyes caught something interesting. She looked at Rose and suddenly burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that she fell onto the sofa, and even then she continued laughing like a crazy person. "What happened?" Rose asked, confused. She looked behind herself and around the room but couldn't find anything worth laughing at so much. "Why are you laughing like that?" she asked again. The T-shirt, Scar managed to say between fits of laughter. This was the first time Rose had seen her laugh like this. In fact, it was the first time she had seen her laugh at all. She felt happy seeing her like that, yet confused about the reason. "What about the T-shirt?" Rose asked innocently. Scar somehow controlled her laughter and asked, "Don't you know what's on it?" "No," Rose replied. It was a T-shirt with 69 printed on it. "You don't know what 69 means?" Scar asked, still smiling. "No," Rose answered sweetly. Scar looked at her with mock pity, placed a hand on her head, and said, "You really are just a little kid." She started laughing again and walked toward her room. "At least tell me what it means," Rose shouted after her. "Google it," Scar shouted back before shutting the door. When Scar came out after getting ready, Rose was sitting on the sofa with a cute, grumpy pout, and she had changed her T-shirt. "Did you Google it?" Scar asked, trying to suppress her laughter. "Don't make fun of me," Rose said, turning her face away. "Oh, come on, it's nothing serious. Beauty lies within you. And anyway, that T-shirt actually looked good on you," Scar said softly. Rose smiled gently, and the two of them left for their tour. The breathtaking natural beauty of the majestic Alps, the serene lakes, charming villages, cosmopolitan cities, and towering castles, that's just a glimpse of what Switzerland has to offer. Add in shopping, wine tasting, delicious chocolates and cheeses, and the experience becomes even more magical. And that's exactly what they spent their time enjoying together. Switzerland isn't a small country, so it took them several days to explore it properly. As the days passed like this, their bond kept growing stronger. Each day felt better than the one before. One such night, they were returning after doing a lot of shopping at a nearby mall. Walking along the streets, Rose suddenly dropped all the bags from her hands and made a grumpy face. "What happened?" Scar asked. "I'm hungry," she said like a cute, angry baby. Scar smiled. "Come on." Soon. They reached a roadside food truck and ordered some delicious food. Scar finished eating and was drinking water, while Rose was still eating, or rather, thinking about something. All of a sudden, she said, "I want to drink alcohol." Hearing that, Scar spit out all the water in her mouth and started coughing. "What?" she asked in shock after calming down. Please," Rose pleaded like a 5-year-old. No, you're still a kid," Scar said firmly. And right there on the road, they started arguing, completely ignoring the angry glare of the man on whom Scar had just spit water. "Hey, how dare you do that?" the man shouted angrily. They looked at him and saw him drenched in water, fuming with rage. Rose burst out laughing at him, while Scar became nervous seeing her laugh like that. "How dare you?" the man shouted again. "Oh, he didn't understand how you did that. Wait, I'll show him," Rose said. She took the bottle from Scar, drank some water, and spat it on the man again. "Like this," she said casually. Scar stared at her in shock. The man grew even angrier and called a few more men. Rose immediately ran from there while Scar stood frozen, blinking at them. Rose came back, grabbed her hand, and said, "You grumpy person, after doing something like that you're supposed to run. Come on." She dragged her along while the men stood there, staring at their retreating figures with open mouths. After running hand in hand for a while, they finally stopped, breathing heavily. They looked at each other and burst into laughter. "Oh God," Scar said, laughing even harder. "You're completely crazy." "Everyone does that," Rose replied, still laughing. They started walking again. "So what did you decide about the alcohol?" Rose asked after a while. "What is there to decide? You're not drinking, understood," Scar said. "That's cheating," Rose protested, stomping her foot. "No drama. You're only 17. Now keep your mouth shut," Scar announced and started walking ahead. That's not fair. You can drink, you can smoke, so why can't I? Rose argued, following her. Scar stopped. First of all, I don't smoke. And second, I drink very, very occasionally, so don't compare yourself to me, she said and resumed walking. Rose made a grumpy face, but then she noticed something and gave a naughty smile. After walking for a while, Scar realized Rose wasn't behind her anymore. She turned around and started searching, and what she saw left her shocked. Rose was standing on a platform in the middle of the road, holding a bottle of wine in one hand and dancing while singing loudly, completely lost in her own world. Scar mentally smacked her forehead. Who gave her that? She wondered. Hey, get down, Scar ordered sternly. No, today I won't listen to you, grumpy, Rose replied in a dizzy voice. If you don't come down, Scar warned. Or what will you do? I want freedom, she shouted dramatically. Scar pulled her down. Enough, let's go, she said sternly, grabbing her wrist and dragging her away. It looked like a father dragging a child who was crying for a toy they couldn't buy. Leave me, Rose kept protesting. Scar suddenly stopped and looked at her. After repeating it for a while, Rose realized Scar had already let go of her hand. Hee, she smiled sheepishly. Who gave you this? Scar asked, pointing at the wine bottle. That she did. She's a nice lady, Rose said, pointing toward a woman holding a wine bottle. Scar took her to the woman. She looked to be in her early 40s, holding a small baby in one hand and a wine bottle in the other. Excuse me, may I know why you gave this bottle to her? Scar asked. The lady looked Scar up and down and replied plainly, because she asked for it. Scar glanced at the baby. Is that your baby? Yes. What's his name? It's Tom. Before Scar could ask anything else, another small boy came up to the woman and said, Mommy, I want that toy. The woman replied annoyedly, No, Tom. Scar stared at her in disbelief. Both of your sons are named Tom. I have 10 sons with the same name, the woman replied casually. Scar's jaw dropped. Why the same name? Who the hell is going to remember 10 different names? The woman said carelessly. Scar grew more curious. Okay, so if you have to call one of them specifically, how do you do that? Simple, by their surnames, the lady replied. Oh, Scar said absent-mindedly. Then reality hit her. What? She exclaimed, finally realizing the woman was clearly an alcoholic. She had been so busy talking about the woman's children that she forgot about her own problem. Where did that little mouse go now? She muttered. She started searching for Rose and found her fighting with the same group of boys they had encountered earlier. Scar ran toward her at full speed. Hey, you! Rose was about to punch one of them when Scar grabbed her from behind, placing one hand over her mouth and the other around her waist to hold her back. Rose struggled, trying to fight, and in the chaos she pushed Scar, causing her to fall onto the road. That's it, Scar muttered, getting up. Just then, the police arrived. Hey, whose kid is that? One of the officers asked. Mine, Scar shouted, but in the crowd no one heard her. I've even started talking like her now, Scar muttered to herself. But before she could push through the crowd and reach them, the police had already taken Rose away.